fundraisers. I'm Don Lego. It's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together, we'll dive into lively conversations and we'll chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore hot-button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, let's get going. Welcome back to Raise Nation Radio. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining. We stream on 10 different podcast channels. We are on demand at onecause.com, and we're live from the Raise Conference, which takes place annually each September. If you haven't checked it out, you'll want to check it out. This year, we'll be in Nashville at the Country Music Hall of Fame, September 11th and 12th. But if you're familiar with the show, well, you know what you're in store for. Thank you again for making us a popular show and being a fan. And we hope that you enjoy this episode. This one's very near and dear to my heart. We are so super excited to have with us the cast and crew from the North Dakota Autism Center. We're going to talk about their mission and neurodiversity, what that means, just values and so many great things. Gosh, we have a whole crew. We have Emily Carpenter, who is the event coordinator for the North Dakota Autism Center. We have Kayla, and I practiced her last name before we, started, and I'm going to mess it up. It's Farahmand?
You got it.
Yeah. Oh, Kayla. So sorry. Mission Development Administrator, and Tom Kopp, Director of Mission Development. A lot of development going on here. Emily, yes. Kayla, Tom, welcome to Raise Nation Radio.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited.
Yeah, in chorus. And I got to tell the audience, they are like in a professional podcast studio. I'm like so super impressed. They all had their like Yeti mics and their earphones. I was like, ooh, this is cool. So I think we're in for a good conversation today. And, this is just really going to strike a chord with me. So I might get emotional, but our audience is used to that. Where I'd love to start is for our audience to get to know each of you. So if you don't mind, other than your title and messing up your names, if you don't mind just introducing yourself, maybe Emily, we can start with you, what you do for the North Dakota Autism Center, and just what you want to share personally about the mission and why it's important to you.
Of course. So my name's Emily. I've been at the Autism Center for 5 years in a couple weeks. Actually, it will be my 5-year anniversary. So I am the event coordinator. That entails planning all of our fundraising events, our gala, our golf scramble, our community picnic, anything where we bring in funds. Like today, we're actually doing a Panda Express fundraiser. So anything we can do to bring in that money to support the people we work with. So that obviously is a huge undertaking. And it's my cup of tea. I'm a type A person and I love doing it. And I love the center. We're really a family here. We love our kids, but we also love each other. And we just work really hard to make sure that individuals on the spectrum have the best lives they can.
Oh. All right, Kayla, let us get to know you a little bit better too.
Yeah, so I am the Mission Development Administrator. I have been at the North Dakota Autism Center for almost a year. Previous to that, I was the Hiring and Training Manager, so I really trained all the new employees coming in to best support the individuals we serve. But right now, my focus is I run a lot of the community programs here. So we have our sensory and inclusive community program, and that's really giving organizations within the community the tools and the knowledge to best support the individuals that we serve. So individuals with ASD or that have a developmental disability, we can really bridge that gap and again support the organization to best support those individuals. We have our safety jacket program, which is there to help first responders with training and tools to best support the individuals we serve as well, so that, any interactions that they might have is going to go smoothly, and that, they have just kind of a positive interaction instead of things that could go wrong. And then also supporting things like our enrichment center. That is a space that we have here where it's a free and voluntary or free what we offer, where individuals from the community can come in and also have a safe space to learn and grow. We do STEM activities, we do cooking classes, everything like that.
Wow. That's a lot. We have to get back to some of that
because stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I think with first responders, a lot can go wrong because some of the community that you serve, they're nonverbal. And 100%. So they may communicate in a different way 100%. That could be perceived as a behavior or can be perceived as something else. And that first responder may not be proficient in that type of language. And then all kinds of things can go wrong because it's miscommunication.
Yep.
So
miscommunication can really allow for anything to happen.
Yeah, of course. Just in typically developing communities, miscommunication can happen, let alone in the neurodiverse community. So, wow, thanks for shedding some light. You're very, very busy at the North Dakota Autism Center. And I love the sensory activation, because the more we can train others about the importance of sensory and just what that does, it just makes for a better experience, for a more inclusive environment. So, oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about, but I want to get to know Tom too. We can't leave our man out of the equation here. Of course, we had to do ladies first, a little chivalry here. But Tom, can we get to know you a little bit better?
Sure. Thanks for having us. My name is Tom Kopp, and I am the Director of Mission Development here at the North Dakota Autism Center. And I have been with the Autism Center just since September. I came onto the team. And
rookie.
Previously, I've worked in the nonprofit world for the last 16 plus years. But for the North Dakota Autism Center, our mission of empowering and enriching the lives of all individuals. That's the mission that we live by. And for me, I think that we do that not with just the individuals that we serve, but their families and their supporters, and also the staff members that work here. So I really do love that aspect of what we do here. And so my position is overseeing Emily and Kayla and our marketing director, Kendall. And so but we don't look at it like I'm the boss. We work as a group and work as a team. And really, as far as mission development goes, yes, there's the fundraising aspect of things, but as you can hear, that's already been talked about. It's about bringing the community together and bringing the knowledge and the awareness of what autism and other developmental disabilities are and how we can best serve those in our communities and in our center.
Yeah. Wow. Let's get into it. As far as when some of you are a little bit new, a year, just in September. Emily, your happy anniversary.
Thank you.
But let's talk about the nonprofit itself. When was it founded? Like when did it get its roots and the whole mission get liftoff?
Yeah, go ahead.
So ultimately, we opened our doors in 2008. So
almost 15 years, right?
Yeah,
Did I do the math good? Did I do the math quick enough?
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll actually turn 15 in November this year. Yep.
Whoa. Fantastic.
So our executive director and our co-founder, Darcy Gasperwitz, she back in about 2004, she had a brother, and she was in college or going to be going to college, and her brother was born, and at the age of 2 became sick, and ultimately was doing fine, meeting milestones up until that point, became very sick for a period of time. After that illness, there was a notice of delays and a notice of not meeting milestones in those sorts of situations. And at the age of 4, her brother Tyler was diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. And at that particular time, the services that were required were not available in this area. And so they were asked at that particular point if they needed these services, they were going to have to up and move. And that just really wasn't going to be an option for the family.
And not just move in
up
North
and
Dakota.
Move?
Yeah. So not just move across the state or to another city in North Dakota, move to another state.
A whole new state.
Yep.
Up and move to get services for appropriate care.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Nothing existed in our area at that time.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
So ultimately, that really wasn't an option for the family at the time. And so Darcy had kind of put her career and her path of education on hold at that particular time, and stayed home and took care of her brother, Tyler. And so she just started her own daycare at that particular time for Tyler, and then others that were needing certain help, whether they were on the spectrum or other developmental disabilities. And so then she was that daycare was allowing ABA therapy, applied behavioral analysis therapy, to come into that daycare to provide the services. And so that was amazing. And that's ultimately kind of how it all, in a sense, started, was as a daycare. Darcy, her sister, mom, really allowing this to kind of grow, but ultimately starting with their brother, Tyler. And then in 2008, ultimately, is when the doors opened to really kind of help the community in a bigger capacity. And so now, almost 15 years later, we are serving the entire Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo community. We also do some outreach via telehealth as well, and serving, in 3 different capacities, basically. We have a behavior program, which is kind of like a clinic setting, where individuals will come in, they'll receive ABA therapy, get one-on-one work and build social skills and do all those sorts of pieces in kind of a clinic setting. We also do in-home support. And so where that comes in is that we send DSPs into the home and have an extra set of hands for the parents, or provide respite.
What's a DSP?
Direct support professional.
Okay, great. Thank you. And do you work with school districts for that, or this is just...
We do both, technically. So our behavior team works in the schools as well. We do have some school contracts, but the direct support professionals are strictly in the home or community with the individuals they serve.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, that's okay. And so that would, we have in-home, we have the behavior, like the clinic side of things. We have the in-home support. And then Kayla had touched already on a little bit of the community stuff that we do. And so that kind of includes our sensory and inclusive community partners, and then our safety jacket program, and then just other things that we provide within the community, and
the enrichment center,
and then also our enrichment center, which ultimately the enrichment center started out as just a safe place for those that were receiving services with us to have a place to go, because a lot of families didn't really have a place to go and just like hang out, like, hey, when I go out, what if my kid has a behavior, or how does my kid going to respond to these large groups? How is all those things going to happen? So we provided a place for free where parents could come in and just have a place for, to do whatever, whether it be crafts or different little activities,
or
watch a movie.
Dungeons and Dragons Club.
Yep, all different things. And so as of October of 2022, just this last October, we did open that up to the community. So it's not just those that we're serving within our center. It's also anyone within the community can come in. And that doesn't mean you have to have a diagnosis. You don't have to have any sort of situation. It's just anyone who's willing and wanting to come. You can take a look at our schedule and of what we're going to be providing during our enrichment center activities and show up. And I think for that, it also provides then some knowledge to community people of what we are, and also what those with ASD and those with other developmental disabilities, kind of creating a community in itself. And maybe just, for example, if I have kids, bringing them into an enrichment center activity, and my kids who maybe not are diagnosed with any sort of situation can meet those and understand, and be able to shed light on that and not have such a stigma to it. I think that's one thing that the North Dakota Autism Center really likes to really point out, is that there is a lot of stigma. There's a lot of stigma with having the diagnosis and those sorts of pieces. And we would like to destigmatize
eradicate that stigma. Yeah. Let's just get rid of it. It is a spectrum for a reason. And I think when the general population hears the word autism, you automatically formulate some sort of opinion on what that feels like, looks like, and eradicating all of that is important for our community so that we can be a little bit more inclusive. And thank goodness for the North Dakota Autism Center that you're able to provide that outlet and that safe space, because it could be a very isolating life based on the stigmas that people just have naturally. And nobody's blaming anybody, but we need organizations like you to help educate the world and understand how we can communicate, how we can coexist, and how we can respect different communities for the way they behave, the way they communicate. And so let me applaud you for what you're doing. And just the fact that you can give a little bit of an outlet to the families. I mean, kudos, to you guys. Really, really great stuff.
Thank you
so much.
And
sounds like you have a lot of programming going on. I've heard the word. Oh my goodness. I heard the word. Yeah. So we have like a little enrichment, and we have, you don't have a little anything. You have a lot of something. I mean, it's crazy. That's a lot to keep together. How do you do all of that, Tom?
That's why I have this great group of people around me to help me do all of that. Kayla taking care of a lot of our community aspects and community connections. Emily does all of our event planning and keeping all of that straight, which is a huge task in itself. And then also Kendall, who is not with us at this moment, but she does all of our
not
marketing.
with us on screen. Yes.
Yes.
So she.
Thanks for the clarification.
She is with us.
And then also Claire, who's in charge of our enrichment center. So we have a lot of, different hats in the mission development world, and no one could do this alone. So I am very thankful to have the team that I have around me.
I would also like to say that we have the best leaders in all of our departments. They are not here just to work. It's their passion. We all love being here, and the entire company as a whole is an amazing place to be. And
I'm feeling the love, guys. I'm feeling the love. I got the virtual hug through the screen. I mean, you're just a really great group of people and doing some great things. So I'm going to take it deep. Can we go a little deep into get a little emotional? Let's talk about core values and missions, and just what does it all mean? What does it mean to you, to, the North Dakota Autism Center, and how do you live your why, your mission, your core values every day? Whoever wants to take that.
Is that a nod to Kayla, Tom?
Sure.
Or to me?
Well, there's, our core values, I will start with the main one right now, support, right? Like, we're here to, not main one, but a big one, I should say, but we're here to support. And I think a lot of the directors show up, all the people that support our individuals on a one-on-one basis, they're all here to create the best environment to really grow independence and grow, just those skills to live your best life. And I mean, it reaches from the second they walk in the door to when they go into the community, and everything in between is really just what can we do to build that support, that base. And that's what everybody comes in to do. You
stand up and show up every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the great thing about the Autism Center is that support doesn't just mean the individual. It's the family. It's the community. It's every aspect and every way we can support them. We want to be able to be creating those opportunities.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like you said, and I think a big one is that, individuals who are diagnosed with ASD or a developmental disability and their families often feel isolated and feel kind of alone because they don't have that support. And that's what we really want to eradicate.
Yep.
Wow.
I will say, I know that you mentioned that we have a lot of things, but as far as the support goes, we do have a Families Helping Families group as well. So we do have a
Families Helping Families. Okay.
That's correct. Yep. And what that is it's just kind of getting off the ground, but we are starting technically a support group. And it's actually families that we currently have or have had for the last few years within our programs who are going to be supporting new families potentially coming into the programs, or new families that are, your child gets diagnosed with autism. Now what? Yeah. Right. And so we have these families that we work with on a daily basis that are starting a support group for those in that kind of situation, and how to
kind of mentor.
Kind of navigate all the things. Where do I go now? Who do I need to talk to? How does this work financially? How does this, X,
how
Y,
do
and
I
Z?
get on the developmental disability waiver for North Dakota so I can get a DSP to help me out at home? That kind of stuff.
Wow.
So that just kind of, I don't know, I'm sorry I tangented there, but that would be like the support that we're kind of talking about as far as one of our core values. So
Another one, Oh, go ahead, Dawn.
No. I'm just in awe. I mean, because the list just keeps going.
Yes,
each
it
time
does.
that any one of you start to speak, there's like another long list of services that you're providing. But I want to hear what you have to say, Emily, please.
So another one of our core values that I think is really near and dear to our hearts is integrity. We've been doing ABA since the beginning, and ABA has had kind of a storied history. Or it's had a negative connotation. You're doing behavior therapy. Like, what is that? But we are always making sure that our policies and procedures are up to the highest standards. Our behavior team is accredited in multiple things, and they are doing the best work, trauma-informed therapy that they can. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think it's, we want to be a company that people want to come to. We have wait lists. We want to be able to, the more board certified behavior analysts we can get on staff, the more people we can serve. And so we really just want to maintain that integrity and do everything to the best of our power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can feel the pride. I can feel the love. I can feel the integrity. That comes through, like, just as you're introducing yourselves. And now that we've been talking just a little bit, it's really loud and clear. So I've got to ask you two questions. We're gonna take these. One, I'm a family that needs help. Mm-hmm. Where do I go? Who do I call? How, you mentioned that hearing I need to move to another state can't be the answer. Thank goodness for you that they no longer need to do that. But how do they get help? I think when you get a diagnosis of autism, it's a little, and the internet is a friend and a foe all at the same time. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm living in North Dakota. I'm now faced with a whole new lifestyle, and I need help, good, honest, safe help. Where do I go with the North Dakota Autism Center?
Yes.
Great question. And depending on where that's all kind of coming from, of course, every situation is very different, right? So we do have also some good partnerships in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Actually, the North Dakota Autism Center, we do not diagnose. Okay, so we are not a diagnosing facility in a sense.
Not yet, anyway.
However, we do partner
tomorrow.
Actually, I think about 3:00 today. So, but we do partner with those in our community that do, right? And so they're very well aware of what we are and what we do. And so ultimately what we would do, if you were to come to me today and say, hey, I just walked out of the clinic, or I just came from my doctor and my child is diagnosed with autism, I would refer you to one of those partners, right? And I would say, hey, what they do is kind of give you like a mock-up, and we also then help you connect you with, like Emily said, whether it's a developmental disability waiver that needs to be happening. Sometimes you can qualify for like a Medicaid, and making sure that you kind of have all the right things in place. And so it's a step-by-step process, and it's kind of dependent on where maybe you are individually as a family and what's kind of going on, but we want to make sure that it's not just an umbrella. You're very much an individual to us. And so we want to treat you in that way. So ultimately though, maybe asking you, what do you need? What are you looking for? Are you coming to us with already a waiver in hand, and this is how many hours you're approved for? Perfect. Let's get you set up, and let's get you started with a DSP or whatever it is that we're really looking to do. And maybe what does the family want to get out of it? What does the individual want to get out of it? Really making sure that these are individual plans that are being made for everyone, because ultimately we're not here to run numbers and see how many people we can run through our system. And we are one of only 2 in the state of North Dakota that accept North Dakota Medicaid. And that is because the Medicaid reimbursement is so low. Again, we're not here to get the money. No. We're here to make sure that we provide the best care that we can to each and every individual. So that is not just that in itself. That's why every individual is different and the aspect is different. So
and you often hear, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. It's cliche, and I don't know if the power of that statement has the meaning that it deserves or resonates the way it deserves, but it's so true. I love that you have that top of mind. Okay, you're an individual, and we're going to move forward. No cookie cutter approach. We want you to reach your potential. And the way to get that is not by a cookie cutter approach. And really, I applaud you. I mean, we have wonderful services. I'm in New Jersey. We have wonderful services here, wonderful organizations, but we can use one more. And so if you want to open up a branch here in New Jersey, just give me a call and we'll carry out that mission.
We might.
Okay. Well, so by 3:00 today, you'll be diagnosing, and by 4:00, you'll have a New Jersey chapter. There we go. Movers and shakers and game changers for sure. But now I want to flip that coin, because we know today's donors and supporters and volunteers, they are looking to align with missions that they trust. And clearly speaking to the three of you, it's from the heart, it's with integrity, and who wouldn't, in just a few minutes talking to you, trust this organization? So I assume you have all the facts and figures available on your website, but now I want to get involved that way. I want to be a volunteer, a donor, a supporter, whether I have money or whether I don't. There's probably something that I can do to help the North Dakota Autism Center. How do I get involved?
Oh man, there are so many ways.
Oh,
Kayla
good.
and I'm sure we
All the
can
ways.
give you all the answers to that. So as far as donors, you can donate through our website. We are always looking for in-kind donations for our teams, whether that's iPads or fidget toys or really anything. We have wish lists on Amazon. You know, those things get loved and used, and we're always needing new stuff for that.
Can I just interject right there? I'm sorry, Emily. I just want to mention, you said iPads, and I think some people might understand that of being like, oh, I'm just, oh, is that
No. I know where you're going. Yeah.
No, they use them to communicate.
Some individuals with autism or other developmental disabilities, they use those to communicate, and we use those in our clinic every single day. So
I'll qualify that for you, Tom. There's a Apple application called Proloquo to Go. And it is very instrumental, for individuals with autism to actually help them communicate. It's a picture, easy to use tool to learn. It's a great communication device. It may not be how the masses communicate, but it's an awesome communication device. And you need that iPad and safety case and software. So it's not just the iPad, right? Proloquo to Go is like what, $300, $400. Just the app alone is pretty expensive. Plus the iPad, plus the right iPad to support the app, plus a protective case. Right? That's a good $1,500 right there. Correct. And it's for practical use. We're not playing video games, and that's not what we mean here. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Tom, but I wanted to jump in with that background.
Yes, I appreciate you jumping in.
You interrupted me and I interrupted Emily, so we'll just go all the way back to the
all the way around.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
So going back to how you can get involved with us, so we need volunteers for our fundraising events. Those happen periodically throughout the year. We're always looking for people for that. But the Enrichment Center too, they are doing multiple activities a day. Claire is a powerhouse. She is in charge of all of it. And she runs a lot of things by herself. So she can always use people to help her run activities, to help her plan activities. We also, if you know a local business that you think could benefit from our SI Community Partner Program, Kayla would love to connect with them. Law enforcement, we've met with a lot of local departments, but we do want to extend that program across the state as well, the Safety Jacket program. So if you have a Kopp friend and you're like, hey, I know the Autism Center is doing this amazing program, like here's Kayla's info.
And all of that's on our website.
It is.
What is a safety jacket? Can I ask, what's a safety jacket?
Yeah. So Safety Jacket, that, we talked about how that program is for first responders. Well, what that does is anybody who's enrolled in this free and voluntary program will receive identifiers. So really what works best with them, they get a lanyard, they get some key fobs, they'll get stickers. Obviously they can put it on their, best loved devices. So their communication device. And what that does is that is an identifier for people within the community and first responders to be like, this person is part of our Safety Jacket program. And that jacket is more of support. So it's an NFC device. So anybody walking down the street can see that they're part of this program, they can use their smartphone, which is already enabled with NFC, to scan and get just important information, obviously for confidential purposes. They just get their name and their emergency contacts. So I'm walking down the street and I see somebody's kind of in distress, might need some help. I can scan it. I can reach out to the emergency contact and we can resolve from there. After that point, if first responders
it goes involved, one step further. Yes.
Then they can pull it up in their CAD system, and then they're going to get all the information that is going to best support. So this person's diagnosis, their best communication style. Do they use an electronic communication device? Do they do one and yes or no questions? What is their preferred communication style? What things that they like?
Medications
they're on.
If they stim, like certain ways that they stim,
making sure if you don't like to be touched, right?
Yes.
So officers oftentimes will come up and touch, and that might, cause a physical reaction, and that can be considered
a trigger.
Combative. Yep. So all of those things. So then, that is.
What I'm hearing is that this can make the difference of treatment versus non-treatment, or dare I say life versus death, or
100%.
Right? Yeah. I mean, in those critical moments, if you can't communicate, tell me how you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking, tell me if you cannot get that out fast enough and you have to jump through hoops, this really kind of breaks that barrier down and can be the difference of catastrophe versus success. So, wow,
100%.
amazing
Absolutely.
program.
And the training
it's so necessary.
The training that we do with the first responders, and we do it with EMTs, police officers, fire departments, those sorts of pieces. We do just a info about what is autism, right? What does it look like? How does it come out? How does it act? Because a lot of times when these individuals come in contact with unknown people, right? A lot of times it's very quick to be like, well, they're intoxicated, or they're this, that, and the other thing. They might not stop and just take a second and think, hey, this could be something different. And so if these individuals have an identifier of safety jacket, right, they can scan that. And that jacket is technically it's called a jacket.
That's what, in their system.
In their system. Every person has a jacket, right? So, so they can scan that. And then only the information that is filled out on the application will be in that that jacket. So it's really an awesome tool.
And it's free.
And it's free.
And it's free. And is it how far do you go? What's your region that you serve?
Currently just the Fargo-Moorhead.
Cass and Clay counties.
New Jersey.
I know.
New Jersey. Okay.
We also want to make sure that we train all of those before we actually just go ahead and just give out a ton of identifiers, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to give a false sense of security in a sense, really, either. But since we've been doing it, actually, there has been one incident where it actually has worked, and someone was.
Let's keep it to one, right?
Well,
Let's keep
it. And if it's helped one, that's all. Then we've already done our job.
We were successful.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really been an awesome situation.
Yeah, and I mean, and like you said, it can look different for everybody. So oftentimes anybody that might be diagnosed with ASD or developmental disability can be perceived as a neurotypical person. And that can be very hard
is an invisible
because
disability.
It is invisible, and it's really important that we have these identifiers and that support, because
super
it's not
important.
Yeah.
You guys are everywhere doing everything. But let's go on the path of support. It takes money to support all of these programs. So Emily, that's where you come in to play, fundraising and your events. I'd like to share that we're honored and to be of service to you. You are a customer of the One Cause. I believe you have our One Cause fundraising platform.
We do, yes, and it is an amazing tool.
Oh, thank you. And so we believe that technology and innovation is important to nonprofits. It helps you grow your events, helps you grow your fundraising, and as is your CRM, the CRM tool and everything that can do. So just those two technologies alone is a lot of tech stack for a nonprofit.
Yes.
I believe you're also a customer of the Donor Doc solution, and that's your CRM.
Yes, we are. Yep. And we've been with One Cause, I think, for 2 or 3 years, and we've been with Donor Doc since I started, so at least 5. And we actually switched to One Cause because you guys are amazing.
I didn't pay them. I promise. I didn't pay them to say that.
She did not, I promise. But yes, so the great thing about One Cause is you are listening to your not just your fundraisers and your customers, but the people who are using the service, our donors. And the overhaul that has been done, we've hosted one event now with the new platform, and it changed my life as an event coordinator. I mean, the smallest thing from being able to download a report that has everyone's meals to, whereas before I was entering them manually and doing all kinds of math and trying to keep track of everything. From the donor experience where they can bid on their phone or they can chat with us if they have questions. It really has been life-changing for me. Ooh. So I really appreciate all the tools. And every day there's a new release saying that you're updating something or doing something else or adding something.
Tell me about it. We have something called constant deployment, or I'm sure I got that wrong, but like it's what it means is that deployment of features happens like daily.
Yes.
By the minute, and as a marketer, trying to keep up with that is a little crazy, but that's another story. I want to dig just a little bit more, and I think we only have a couple more minutes, but DonorDoc and One Cause is a pretty special relationship because both organizations are trying to stay at the forefront of innovation, but not just innovation, but simplifying the nonprofits' life and day-to-day execution. And I think the two companies are very aligned, so much so that we have an integration, a direct integration where one speaks to the other. So Emily, if I may, I'd like to ask you two questions. One, when you entered into this latest fundraiser where you were able to use the One Cause fundraising platform, what challenges were you trying to overcome and how did they overcome those challenges? And then what was your reaction to the One Cause DonorDoc integration? Because I kind of saw one statement that you made, an email that you sent, and I'm like, whoa, that was one sentence, but that was pretty powerful. But I think our audience would love to hear it.
Yeah. So some of our biggest hurdles with our events is the pre-registration and getting people checked in and trying not to have those lines. And so with the One Cause update and it being so user friendly, when they buy tickets, they can add on games if they want, they can input their meal choices or any, seating choices they would like we can just collect all that information up front, and our sponsors can send out their tickets to the people they're inviting so that they can input all that information themselves. That is a big deal. I have done everything from Microsoft Forms to just tracking it on Excel. And
we don't want you doing that anymore.
Yes. And that has been such a big help for us. And then with the early check-in, we always open our silent auction about a week before our event. So that kind of helps with the check-in too, because then they have to put in all their information before they can bid. But like with the QR codes coming and making it easier to just scan and go to check in, that has helped immensely with lines and with getting people in the door and getting them to enjoy that event. And then being able to donate right from their phone as well as bid and all that has been just amazing and has made our lives much better. I know before my time, they were using handwritten bid sheets, and I'm sure that is, that would be.
Oh, I didn't hear that, did I?
Yes.
So tell us about the success of your last event. How, did you hit goal? Did you?
Where were you? Yes. So we did not meet our overall goal, but that is not a bad thing because we brought in 25,000 more than we did the year before. And that is a huge deal. We had Mobile Pro helped us, of course, with all the integration, and we worked with One Cause, obviously, to make sure that was went off without a hitch. But it's just, I just can't even, I could talk about how amazing One Cause is all day because it just.
We're going to bring you back for another podcast when we're not so mission focused, yes. But that's so sweet of you.
Yes. It's just with all the reports I can pull and with all the info we know, we can set realistic goals for our future events, and we can just always keep making them better and bigger. And
so it can be $25,000 more than the last
year,
one.
Yes.
All right. So now tell me about the DonorDoc integration.
Yes.
I think you hit a button and something magical happened.
Yes. I sent a couple emails. I emailed Matt from DonorDoc. I emailed Patrick from One Cause, and I was like, guys, we need to do this integration. I've heard about it. Why am I not already doing it? And basically I clicked a switch, entered a token code, and now it pulls every single donation straight into DonorDoc. I don't have to do anything. It pulls the information twice a day. So I literally flipped a switch, and 20 minutes later, our entire awesome evening was integrated into DonorDoc. So every donation was entered, every game, every purchase. It was amazing. That would have taken me probably a week to organize and figure out in the past. So that is just, again, it's so life-changing. And with the extra time we have, not having to do all that data entry, we can do smaller fundraisers throughout the year to build more on our, build our programs more, or maybe we'll do 2 golf scrambles because we can handle it, so that's just.
So you're focused on fundraising and stewarding your donors and engagement, then entering data in, which is going to take a week out of your 52 weeks. So, 100%. And Matt from DonorDoc, that is Matt Bitsiago, who, or Bitsa-Guy. I keep saying
I think it's Bitsa-Gayo.
It is. You know what? I think it's Bitsa-Guy. I think we want to make it a lot of vowels at the end.
We've had this conversation a number of times because we also work with his wife, Bridget. And I'm always like, how do we say his last name? But yes, their team is
I butchered his name too. So I butchered Kayla's name and Matt's name.
That's okay.
But he's going to be thrilled to hear this. We really appreciate the testimonial. It's not why we brought you on the podcast today, but it's just so nice to hear. And I know Matt's going to be so proud because simplicity and putting you in a position for fundraising success is really what we want to do, at the end of the day. Oh my God. But we're going to bring you back, Emily, for another whole podcast. Yes. Just on that.
For the fundraisers out there, I can't recommend One Cause or DonorDoc enough. And DonorDoc
we didn't pay her.
DonorDoc is a local company. I could pop over and say hi to Matt, but they serve anyone, anywhere. So
of course,
I definitely recommend them. So
all right, well, let's get back to the mission. I think we only have a few more minutes. We've been chatting for a good while here, and I think we probably can go on another hour just to get through all the programming that you guys offer. But why don't we go one by one? And just, what are you hopeful for? What does this mission mean, and what fuels you, and what are you hoping for in the future? Well, I'm going to go from my screen from left to right. That means Kayla, you're up first, then we'll do Emily, then we'll do Tom, and we can kind of wrap it up like that.
Yeah, so I feel like I am just repeating the same thing over and over again, but what I'm looking forward to is creating a community and spreading that as far as possible that is here to include all individuals, every individual possible. So if that means going to the store and they have a sensory room if somebody's getting a little overwhelmed, or they have some headphones or some fidgets on hand, just whatever it is to really bridge that gap to help families be the best that they can. That is what drives me.
Simple fidget sometimes makes the world of a difference. A fidget toy that you can get for $1 at the dollar store can make a difference. Let's be responsible in our communities and get some fidgets. But Kayla, you might have repeated yourself. You might not have. I don't know. But if you did, it was worth repeating. Yes. But Emily.
Okay. I want the world to be a place where every person can be accepted 100% where they're at, who they are, how they communicate, and we all adapt to meet them where they are.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I have mic drop there. So I'm just going to move over to Tom. Go ahead, Tom. What are you hopeful for with the North Dakota Autism Center?
Well, I'm hopeful for the Autism Center to continue to grow. Right now, we're growing with Tyler. Remember, he's the young one this is all kind of started for. And so we're kind of growing with him, right? And I believe that the North Dakota Autism Center has so much more to offer than what we've talked about today. And I'm not saying that we do at this time, but I do believe that we have the opportunity to grow and to serve so many more. And I think that everybody deserves the opportunity to be included and to be able to be successful in society and in the community. And that's what we're here to do. And ultimately, we would like to provide that from, birth to the end of life. And I think that's what we're working towards right now.
Yeah, especially after 18 or after 21, when services just all of a sudden go away. And where do you go? And now you're feeling isolated again. We're going to have you guys back. We just didn't have enough time. It's just been such a pleasure. But Fearless Fundraisers, that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode released every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. That's Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But in the meantime, listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio. Follow the channel that you like the best, because we're everywhere. And then you can get the notifications about all of our new guests. Fundraisers are doing amazing things to build better tomorrows for our communities. The stories, as you just heard, are awe-inspiring. Shout out to Tyler for this inspiration. You don't want to miss a single episode. I would like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use software solutions that can help nonprofits connect with their donors. Check it out at onecause.com and visit the resource tab on the homepage for a broad catalog of content that hopefully you'll find helpful. A huge shout out and thanks to my guest for sharing just a very authentic, caring, and loving voice, Emily, Kayla, Tom. I truly enjoyed our conversations. You've been so inspirational, but I'm going to have to ask for just those last words of inspiration for our audience, because this is the inspiration channel. So whoever wants to go first, your last words of inspiration, please.
I'd say as a fundraiser to just fundraise with your heart.
Aw.
There you go.
Who's gonna chime in? Anybody else?
Anyone else? And I think too, our biggest thing is to empower and enrich the lives of all individuals. So just keep treating people
With kindness and respect.
100%.
Treat everyone with kindness.
I love ending on that. Well, thank you again so much. That is a wrap. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego. This is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.